What up, everybody? It's Frank Muller back at it again with another video today. You're watching Level Up, Double Down, where we don't play around unless it's video games. With that out the way, let's go ahead and get things started. On today's episode, we're celebrating a momentous occasion because it's the return of the GameCube. Nah, not really, but this time it's not being made by Nintendo. Not to get off topic, but if you do want to see content related to the GameCube, then check out this video right at the top. Now, if you hadn't heard the news, Valve just revealed their new up-and-coming next-generation Steam Machine home console along with their new controller design. Then they gave us news about their new up-and-coming VR headset called the Steam Frame. Valve also announced that they'll be launching in early 2026. Now, for the folks who had invested into the Steam Index, which was Valve's last previous VR headset, well, RIP. Now, let's have a moment of silence while we pour out some liquor for that game-changing VR headset, since I don't think it was able to live out its true full potential. All right, that's enough time to mourn. All jokes aside, unfortunately for those guys who bought the Steam Index, they'll have to buy another headset in order to get even more features that are going to be included on Valve's Steam Frame. Now, I don't own any VR headsets, nor am I claiming to be an expert on them, so my coverage is mainly going to be on the Steam Machine console itself. But from what I saw, what I can say though is the Steam Frame VR headset is coming for the Meta Quest 3's neck, since you don't even need an external PC to run games on it like you did with the Steam Index. Now, switching gears here, from what I can tell, the GPU in Valve's new Steam Machine console equates to a custom RX 7600 with 8GB of VRAM, which I don't think is future-proof in my opinion, and it's probably going to become outdated when the next generation of PC components launch in 2026 through 2027. Now, I understand they're trying to go at it from a cost-effective approach by making it more affordable for entry-level PC gamers. Valve is claiming you can play games at 4K 60 using AMD's FSR3 upscaling technology, which is unfortunate since AMD's current implementation of FSR4 is their better upscaling technology, and a majority of people think so. However, FSR4 is only compatible with RDNA 4 cards such as the 9070 XT, the 9070 non-XT, and the 9060 XT, both 8GB and 16GB variants. The custom GPU in the Steam Machine, which is equivalent to the RX 7600, is only based on RDNA 3, so games getting upscaled on that GPU won't be that pleasant to look at, and it's going to have that smearing effect. All you need to do is search for Monster Hunters Wild on YouTube for videos where it's running FSR3 as an example, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So at best, if you prefer playing games in native, it'll probably be at 1080p 30 frames per second, which will be a crying shame, so I hope Valve proves me wrong. Now, according to the other specs of this gaming console, it comes equipped with the 6-core, 12-thread AMD Zen 4 CPU, which maxes out at 4.8 GHz, and the console also includes 16GB of DDR5 RAM, which I consider reasonable on that front, since I put together numerous PCs before in the past with those very same specs, which have ran incredibly fine, so that's good to see. I/O and connectivity on the Steam Machine include 4 USB-A ports, specifically 2 USB 3 and 2 USB 2, 1 USB-C 3.2 Gen 2 port, 1 Ethernet port and Wi-Fi 6E connectivity, dedicated Bluetooth for the controller, 1 display 1.4 port, which is able to scale up to 4K 240Hz and 8K 60Hz refresh rates, and 1 HDMI 2.0 port, which are pretty standard run-of-the-mill options that are to be expected on modern-day PCs. The customizable magnetic faceplates for the console, I think, are a gimmick, but of course I'm assuming normies are going to bite, so more power to Valve. But kudos to Valve for being able to fit all those components within that form factor. Now here's what I think. If Valve really wants to win over newcomers to the PC space, the solution they should offer would be an option for consumers to upgrade the GPU to something much more capable, all the way up to a 7800 XT equivalent GPU as a stopgap measure, while giving a disclaimer that it will cost more, but that might be wishful thinking. I mean, I don't need one of these Steam machines because I already have a capable gaming PC, and I'm already planning on building another new editing rig, which will also be used for gaming as well. So stick around and subscribe to the channel to see more of that type of content. Overall, having the option to upgrade from the RX 7600 equivalent GPU to something better would be a great idea to hold over consumers who are looking for more power. Now, if Valve strategically prices this thing at no more than $600, I highly think that's a sweet spot that'll get a lot of people interested. Now, speaking of the controller, I'm kind of mixed on it. I'm not really keen on the trackpads being so close to the joysticks, only because I'm concerned how they could potentially interfere with gameplay. But I do understand the premise behind it, and I'm sure Valve has done plenty of testing when it comes to the controller's design. All they're doing is just re-implementing what worked with the Steam Deck, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. However, I do appreciate that they're integrating TMR joysticks on it to avoid stick drift. The charging dock, which looks similar to a hockey puck, which uses pogo pins so you can just easily lay the controller for fast charging, seems pretty basic and intuitive. I'm pretty sure Valve is gonna have to take the same approach that they did with the Steam Deck when that first came out, meaning they're gonna have to take an L by subsidizing the new Steam Machine console, since its operating system, SteamOS, incorporates Steam's marketplace, and since gamers can only play games by buying it through Steam's storefront, Valve can easily make up for the deficit from the profits that they'll make from those game sales. Now, if you've been keeping up with the coverage regarding the next generation Xbox successor console, and if you're like me, then you've noticed that the concept that the Steam Machine is going for is what Microsoft has been expressing as their angle that they're running with for their next generation Xbox during their recent interviews, especially Sarah Bond, the Xbox vice president. Microsoft has mentioned over and over how they want to provide a hybrid premium PC experience, which evidently means it's going to cost you a whole lot, hence the word premium. Unfortunately for Microsoft, Valve is beating them to the punch by heading to market first with their Steam Machine in 2026, a year and a half earlier than when this rumored Xbox Magnus is supposed to release. However, the Steam Machine should be capable of everything Xbox Magnus is purported to do and offers somewhat of a premium gaming PC experience, and is capable of running desktop applications alongside the use of keyboard and mouse. But the inferences I'm gathering after listening to these interviews from the execs at Microsoft makes it seem as though the next generation Xbox successor will be more powerful than this new Steam Machine. But don't hold me to that though. I'm at the belief that we should just wait for verifiable independent reviews before rushing to judgment. Not only is Valve stealing Microsoft's thunder, but they're also taking the wins out their sails. It's almost like poetic justice, because if you know the history of Steam, then you know that Gabe Newell, who is one of the co-founders of Valve, started off as an employee at Microsoft before he quit in the late 90s to create Valve. And the reason why he did that was because he wanted to make his own games and applications, which Microsoft wasn't doing at the time. And the type of work he did at Microsoft was drawn out and mundane, stunning his growth. And after developing and releasing Half-Life the game, the rest was history from there. That then led to the creation of Steam, Valve's current digital PC game marketplace. Not trying to turn this video into a history lesson, but you can do your own research and go down that rabbit hole on your own if you want to. Now, over the past few years, I've been keeping tabs on a lot of these news stories related to Valve's attempt at pushing the new Steam Machine to the masses, leading up to the recent announcement, as well as rumors regarding the new VR headset and the game controller as part of their new upcoming product lineup. Shout out to Brad Lynch on X.com, formerly known as Twitter, since he was on a case like Scooby-Doo, and his findings were actually the source that a lot of these news outlets reported their coverage on. Just to run through a few, the first article that caught my attention regarding these rumors came from The Verge, and it's dated on November 19, 2024. And this discusses the Steam Controller 2 with the code name Roy. and they also source Brad Lynch as their resource for this article. Now, the next article that I also caught wind of was from WCCF Tech. This is in February. This is regarding the Deckard, or that was the code name for the Steam frame. And this is dated on February 26, 2025. However, WCCF Tech, they actually referred to a leaker known as Gay Follower on Twitter, aka X.com. Now I'm pulling up another tweet. This comes from Brad Lynch, and this is dated for August 19, 2025. And he goes into detail about the Steam Fremont, or Valve Fremont, which is the console, the code name for the console. And that just tells you how far these rumors go back. And here's an article from Tom's Hardware where they refer to Lynch's tweet regarding the Fremont game console. And they even mentioned the RX 7600 as a GPU. Now, the next article I'm going to reveal also just regurgitates what Tom's Hardware stated, and this article comes from Video Cards with a Z, and this is dated August 20th, 2025. The next article I'm going to go through is regarding the headset, and the headset was also called Deckard. It's still called Deckard, but they do acknowledge that there is a formal name, and it is going to be named Steam Frame. So this article is from Gosu Gamers, and it's dated for September 17, 2025. All right, the next article I'm going to go over is from yesterday, and this is in relation to the release or the announcement for the new Steam Frame, the next gen VR headset, and this article comes from IGN. The next article I'm going to go through as well is from IGN. This is in regards to the Steam Machine, and it's supposed to be 6 times more powerful than a Steam Deck. And last but not least, this article that I'm going to go over, which is really irony, is from Phil Spencer, who is congratulating Valve on their Steam Machine. And you can tell, man, the whole messaging is fake. I mean, he's just trying to save face, but deep down inside, I'm pretty sure he hates himself, because Microsoft was actually trying to come up with that plan, but Valve just beat him to the punch, and Valve is just a much more likable company. So RIP Xbox all the way. As I wrap up this video, feel free to let me know in the comments, what were your thoughts about the presentation I gave? If you're interested in this type of content related to PC gaming, hit the subscribe button below and turn on all your notifications so you don't miss a thing. And if you made it this far into the video, I want to sincerely thank you for watching. So until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Again, this is Frank Mula signing out. Holla at me.